Alright, what is going on, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls? Welcome back into another video. Now, in today's video, I'm here to show to you what the new champion, Betty La Bomba, and also known as the Bomb Queen, how she actually works. Her kit has been fully revealed, and we're gonna go through it. Now, I understand that some people might have concerns as to how spammy she is, and, you know, that is a very valid concern, but what I have to tell you, in my opinion, is to wait for PDS and to try it as much as possible. Give it tries on training matches, normal matches, going to the shooting range, play 1v1s with your friends. Try as much as possible. We need this feedback to make her feel better. Now, obviously, she doesn't necessarily run like Dredge or Bomb King. She could be considered a hybrid of both, but what I think is that in the end, it actually is good to have this addition to the game, because if you think about it, I mean, you could have certain champions, like for example, Dredge not being as viable as Bomb Queen because of her movement compared to Dredge is in kind of a way a little bit better. We can also say that maybe she's a bit easier to control when it comes to larger maps instead of Bomb King being so exposed and not having as much as also movement again, control, and etc., and still having to detonate the bombs and etc. with time. Like, it can definitely bring some you know, some different comps into the game. And not to mention that, imagine if, for example, if Bomb King or Dredge are already picked and you wanted to go through that style, you have now a new extra style that could go through almost a similar ability. So let's go right into them, and later on I'm going to be passing through the cosmetic video where I'm going to be showing every single cosmetics. So right now I'm not even going to look into that for Bomb Queen, but I may show just a tiny bit real quick, just the splash arts. But later on I'm truly going to be focusing on everything that it's art, you know, skins and etc. And then maybe later on do another video for balance/bugs. Okay, so let's get into it. So we got here Bomb Queen, the damage dealer. She's literally an AoE damage champion. She has 2100 HP. Her story is that she is what it seems to be a former warlord, that she created living bombs, or at least she wanted to create living bombs. One day, she created a bomb that ended up developing a conscience. And when she did this, well, this bomb ended up just destroying everything. And now, basically, she wants her back, which is Bomb King. Okay? That's pretty much for the story. Now, let's talk about abilities. I'm going to be showing here real quick in the explanation for the abilities, and then I'm going to go here into the showcase and give you a glimpse of how it actually looks like in first person and so on. Alright, so we're here. Gonna take this chat away. Possibly, we're just gonna leave it at that and take a look at that later. So, her main fire, it is actually pretty simple. It does act a little bit like Dredge. It has 6 bullets, but the difference between her and Dredge, it is that after she shoots, it starts ticking 2 seconds, right? And it will explode after 2 seconds. If it hits directly onto an enemy, it you know, just blows up. On contrary to Dredge, because Dredge you could actually shoot it, and it will only start ticking like 1 second after it hits the surface, and then that's when it would explode. And basically, it would just explode after hitting the surface once, and that's it, right? It would just bounce up right there where it just fell, and it explodes there. Hers is actually not like that. It keeps bouncing. Right, so you can shoot it on the floor and it does like a little, you know, those stones that you skip, the water stone, you skip the stone in the water. Pretty much it's almost the same thing, but with Bomb Queen. She does 510 damage at the closest range possible with a small little AoE, but if it hits directly, it does 550, and that AoE actually is bigger. So it means that if you hit somebody directly, there's a bigger chance you can hit other people on the sides than just throwing a bomb in the floor. So here, we're going to be looking into her base kit real quick. I'm going to go right to the start here where they show this, and should be around here. I'm going to take away sound. I may end up just showing you like voice lines, but just for the record, I For example, for the video of the skins and such, I don't think I can actually show you that because there is some conflict with maybe some copyright issues because of Monster Cat. But I'll try to work it as much as possible, so let's just go with it. Alright, these are the animations. Her emotes, doesn't really matter for now. And here are her... Okay, as you can see here, she's shooting normal little bombs that bounce on the floor. And as I said before, it starts counting 2 seconds and then it still explodes. So it'll just be bouncing around, as you can see, boom, 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 boom. And it will only explode after 2 seconds, so it has a fuse. It's a bit different playstyle in a sort of a way. Her reload is also different. It's not the same thing as Dredge, where you just reload the entire thing. If you shoot 1 bullet, you can reload 1 bullet, right? Which is similar to Buck's sort of reload, meaning that Def Hands is definitely going to be her friend. So, you know, that's definitely going to be something to look to when you're playing with her. Now let's look into her alternative fire. Her alternative fire is basically 1 grenade that once it hits a target, it will now summon more bombs after that, almost like what it happens with the Seedlings of Willow, but it has a bit of a twist here. First of all, the initial explosion, the first bomb, will deal 250 damage in an area after 0.4 seconds, right? So I don't know exactly if it's 0.4 seconds after shooting it or after hitting the floor. I'm guessing it's after hitting the floor because, I mean, if not, it would just explode literally after shooting it and it really wouldn't be too smart. But whatever is summoned after will deal more damage. 500 damage in an area of effect after 3 seconds. I don't think there's actually 3 seconds between the first blast and the second blast. I think that is wrong, but I might be also just have the wrong idea. But here's the thing. The way that this will decide how many bombs will get to spawn after is depending on how many enemy things you hit. So if you hit a shield, if you hit a turret, if you hit Luna, if you hit a dragon, which I highly doubt if that's going to happen, or an enemy, every single one of them will count individually for 1 bomb. But there's a limit. You can only summon up to 6 additional bombs. So the first bomb is basically like a scanner. It does a little AoE damage and it tells you, okay, there's this many people on this place where I threw my bomb. So, you know, now I'm gonna summon like X amount of bombs after. So it could have 20 different deployables there, but it will only summon max 6. That's it. But if you only have like 2 enemies there and no deployables, no nothing, no shields, then it will only summon 2 bombs, for example. Okay? This is how easy it looks like. Let's just get into it so I can show you visually how it actually works. I believe here it is. Okay, so here they're going to shoot that grenade that I'm talking about. Right click and look at how it looks. Like there's a ton of people here, so it's going to summon 6 bombs, and then all that explosions, you know, together ends up killing. If they're stacking up, it definitely will kill people like that. So yeah, you don't want to do that. Don't stack together with a bomb queen on the enemy team. But enough about that. Let's talk about her first ability, which is a hail of bombs. Similar to what she actually has here on her weapon. This is like a roulette in sort of a way, right? She actually throws a similar thing to this, that it basically throws like a frisbee, if you want to say it. You can throw it front and upwards, right? And then once it lands, it starts rotating and like just spitting up bombs upwards. These bombs will fall around this initial, you know, roulette or whatever you want to call it, and start doing little tiny explosions around it. 390 damage per bomb. Now, they're going to be extremely random, so it's almost like a fire from, you know, from Tyra. But there's a 20 unit radius, so it, you know, it's another like cluster grenade sort of style, if you want to say it. So she has a lot of explosive damage. I'm gonna pull it up here where she actually does that, and here it is, where she summons that little roulette. She throws the roulette, as you can see here, and now it starts just spitting up bombs upwards, and it starts doing damage, doing a little bit of knockback, obviously. And it does some pretty good damage. If people don't walk away from it, it's actually going to be pretty bad. Now, in here, for example, Strixus, actually, what he did was he slowed down so we could see the animation. So as you can see, that is literally the roulette that you place in the weapon. It's like, you know what? Here's an extra roulette. But in this one, it's like it's just gonna spit out everything, right? So there you go for that. It's actually pretty simple to understand. Now let's talk about her movement ability, or aka her second ability. Her movement ability is actually 3 individual jumps that go forward and upwards, almost like a buck leap, but it does damage on the initial jump, like the initial kickback, right? And knocks back a tiny bit. It does 300 damage to enemies within 35 units, so it's similar to Sati's jump if you think about it like that, but it has 3 charges. These 3 charges will be on a timer. After you use the first jump, you'll have this little, this little timer showing up and on top of the abilities, and you will now know that you have to use your second one before that timer runs out, or the ability just goes into cooldown, similar to what Androxa's ability, movement ability is. So I'm gonna pull it up here to where she's doing the movement abilities, and here it is. All right, I'm gonna put it a little bit backwards here, and he's gonna start jumping here. And as you can see, you see that little tick? That's because it did damage to the Fernandos that were there sitting in the back. And you can actually go upwards with this if you want to, but it can also grant you credits and including probably ult charge because you're doing damage with it. So you can actually do left click, right click, Q, and the jump to do damage. She has a very explosive kit. I am not even doing puns. I'm just being serious here. And this is without me even mentioning her ultimate, which is a goddamn rocket. You ride the rocket, literally deciding as to where you're going to blow up things with it. And the thing is, it does 1,700 damage, but you can click it again, and the rocket just keeps going in a straight line. So you don't even have to go to the place where it's going to explode. You could just send it over into the middle of a point, go upwards, look down, right into the point, click again, get out of the rocket, and it'll just do the rest of the job. It may not look like it, but she has a lot of mobility and a lot of AoE. She is really insane. So I'm thinking that she might feel a little bit broken, but I wouldn't say as broken as Azan. So yeah. All right, let's look into her ultimate here. Okay, here's where it spawns. This is going to summon the rocket here. She does a little animation, and also I just want to point this out real quick. First of all, as you see there is a timer, right? There's a timer to tell you when the rocket will explode if it doesn't connect with enemies or the floor or the walls. I don't know exactly how it works. I think it only connects with the floors to explode. Other than that, it will explode when this little timer goes down. And also, this was supposed to have fire coming from the back of this, like this missile, this bullet, whatever it is. But for some reason, it didn't have here. But once he actually shoots it and does what I said, that you can click it again to just send it over to wherever you want to go. Like right here, you see that now it has the fire. That's exactly what it was supposed to do once you started off with the ultimate, basically. It has knockback, obviously, as well. It doesn't have stuns like Bomb King's ultimate, which is good. But she does have a ton of AoE, which is good for shredding shields, I'd say. Also, little heads up. Like, you just saw her going above here. They actually, when they reworked this map, which I'm also going to be talking about that, they actually removed the skybox, or at least they put it at higher. And now we can go above that, and which is fantastic. All right. And you can see him doing that here, and that's just awesome. Okay, so apparently it can also connect to walls. I'm guessing if you leave the rocket, it will definitely explode on anything that it like enters in contact, because before you'd still have to ride it, and you can occasionally just be rubbing against a wall and it would explode and it wouldn't be good. So I'm guessing that's why they did it. As for the 3 talents, the first one will basically deal fire damage to every AoE damage you do, which is pretty much our entire kit. So it will deal 3% of max health of the enemy as a fire damage per second, but this is over a course of 1.5 seconds, which means it's 4.5% of max health for each explosive damage. It doesn't even have to do massive damage. It can just be like a little tiny bit of AoE that you just did with your main fire. And the thing is that every time you keep doing AoE, it keeps refreshing it. Okay, so it will be totally 0.3% max health every 0.15 seconds, apparently, for at least for the map they put here. I don't know if this is actually correct. Might be wrong, doesn't really matter. Let's just move along. The second talent basically reduces the range of the little roulette, the shower bomb roulette here. The ability, you know, that she throws a roulette and starts spinning, starts raining bombs. It reduces the range of it by 50%, so it makes it half the size. But it also concentrates those explosions in a smaller area. And it reduces 2 seconds to its cooldown. Since I'm on the order of mentioning that, here are the cooldowns for all of the abilities. Her right click has a 6-second cooldown, her Q has a 14-second cooldown, and her movement ability has a 10-second cooldown. So, you know, if this reduces 2 seconds to this ability, it will now be 12 seconds instead of 14. You can then also stack up with Chronos, which, you know, it's going to give you a good advantage and you can just spam the roulette. Honestly, I don't think it's totally worth it, but okay. But it will be a little bit easier to concentrate fire on one specific spot, like for example, the point. Gotta Bounce basically gives you more mobility, but also penalizes you a little bit, especially on your base kit. It reduces the cooldown of Explosive Personality by 6 seconds, which, as you can see here, it is 10 seconds, which means it's now every 4 seconds you'll have 3 jumps. But it reduces your movement speed by 15 seconds, so you will have to buy Nimble to counter this. Plus, there's also some cards that gives you some speed if you want that, but other than that. But it also reduces the effectiveness of the jump, right? And also, I'm guessing it also decreases the damage that it does. So yeah, you're just gonna be moving around all of the map, but you're not gonna be able to go as high, as far, do as much damage as you would do before. So as you can see, it's not gonna be the exact same thing. Now let's take a look at her cards. She has a card that increases her max base HP. She has a card that increases up to 10% of her explosions, of all of her explosions. She also has a card that basically increases the time before the main fire explodes, which means that it allows you to go up to 3 seconds before it explodes instead of 2 seconds. But it has a 25-second internal cooldown for some reason, which I don't really understand. We also have a card that will basically similar to what Ray has for reducing the cooldown of her right click by taking damage. Here it is basically if you do damage, it will give you ammo. You can put this at 1,500 HP of damage you do, it will give you 1 ammo. So, there you go. The rest of her cards reduce the cooldown of Cluster Grenade for each enemy hit. Basically, the more people you hit with your cluster, you'll get the cooldown back. You can actually get it. But remember that this is only now counting enemies and not before, as the ability is supposed to count like shields and turrets and etc. So this will only depend on how many enemies are at that specific spot. The stunning entrance that will heal you for each enemy hit for the initial and the secondary explosions. Increase the explosion radius of the cluster bomb's initial explosion, so the first bomb, so that it will allow you to hit more people to make sure you can get more bombs out of for the second explosion. And increase the base damage done to shields and deployables by your cluster grenade. So you can actually have Bulldozer / Record straight up into your base kit just to blow up shields and etc. I'm telling you, Bomb Queen is definitely going to be the shield shredder, and trust me, it is extremely good, especially because this is one of the major counters to double healer meta, that at least that I've seen. So, yeah. Also, a little thing that I saw here, which is actually funny. On the cards Hail of Bombs, they actually named the cards You Can Run, You Can Hide, I Will Find You, and You Will Explode. So I only noticed this now. This is why it's so funny for me. The first card will increase the explosion radius of the roulette, basically up to 50%. The second card will increase the movement speed after 2 seconds for activating Hail of Bombs. So every time you throw that roulette, you can get up to 75% extra speed for 2 seconds. You can increase the travel speed of the Hail Bombs when deploying it. So like you can throw it further basically, or it's just like it goes faster to the floor. Reduce the cooldown of Explosive Personality, your movement ability, by activating Hail of Bombs. I think this one would be pretty good. I like that one. Increase the lateral movement. This here, what I think it is, it's basically, it tells you that you can increase up to the distance you go further, because the movement ability goes further, like front and up, right? With this card, you can increase the distance for like further, to go further front. The second one will increase upwards. The last one will increase your air control so you can move easier in the middle of the air. And this one will just heal you after you activate it. That's it. Alright, this is pretty much it for this. I don't think there's much more questions there to ask. This skin here will be for Season Pass holders only. This skin here will be for gold crystals or Season Pass. And this skin here is for level 50s with Betty La Bomba. And if you were interested in buying the Season Pass, hey, at least, you know, check down the comments on the description. I may have a link there to a Nexus store that allows you to buy that Season Pass while helping me at the same time. It doesn't cost you anything extra, and it helps me. I appreciate it in advance. This is pretty much it for Betty La Bomba, La Bomb Queen, and now I just want to know what you guys think about this champion. I'll be looking forward to look at your comments. I hope you have a fantastic day, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.